If you've visited your public library lately, then you know there's a lot more to do than just check out books. In fact, more and more libraries are going high-tech and offering their patrons everything from digital card catalogs to high-speed internet access. Are these changes breathing new life into an old institution or just changing that institution altogether? Tonight, the site takes a look. A sunny Friday morning in downtown San Francisco. A patient crowd gathers outside a modern granite building, counting the minutes until 11 a.m.
Step back until it's all the way up.
The rush is on for these 300 computer terminals providing free access to the internet and dozens of online databases. The provider, the San Francisco Public Library.
There is a renaissance in public libraries in this country that is the envy of the library world.
Across the nation, public libraries are going digital, putting their card catalogs online, subscribing to electronic databases, and setting up computers with internet access for their staffs and the public.
Learn something. I learn something every time I play with this.
San Francisco city librarian Ken Dowlin was a driving force behind his library's electronic conversion.
The internet web world, if you will, collapses time, collapses distance, and is collapsing cost. And those factors will be the driver that will continue to make it more and more pervasive.
Dowlin's prediction has held true so far. More than 90% of the nation's libraries have computerized their card catalogs, and internet access at public libraries has grown more than 100% in the last 2 years.
The amount of information that's accessible now through the computers, through the internet, through databases that we subscribe to, databases that we create, is unique. Nothing like this has ever existed before.
At San Franciscans' fingertips, instant information about the library's 6.5 million books, CDs, and other items, and online databases that access the rest of the world. Steve McLaughlin oversees the library's computer systems.
I think one of the most interesting databases, and one that I think we're very proud of, is the social services database. So why don't we take a look at that? You can say, I'm looking for some place that provides shelter. And I need some place that speaks Spanish. I can see that the Central City Hospitality House provides services. They can do translation of Spanish by arrangement. It gives me the address of the place. It gives me fees, if there are any, the hours they're open, phone numbers. So that's one of our best services, I think, in a lot of ways, where we can get beyond the traditional library catalog and provide other kinds of sources of information that people need for their lives.
So what we're going to do is take a sheet of sheet music. This one's called Don't Be Afraid to Tell Your Mother. We're going to put it on our flatbed scanner and scan it in.
Some libraries have gone beyond digitizing card catalogs. They're digitizing the collections themselves. Over the next 5 years, the Library of Congress will spend $60 million converting handwritten manuscripts into computer text. At San Francisco Public, they'll spend the next 2 to 3 years digitizing sheet music, then putting it online.
Click on a piece of sheet music, and you hear what the music might sound like. This particular collection is very fragile, and it's a way to give access to an archival collection and at the same time preserve it.
Rush hour at the New York Public Library. Here, digital technology has helped the library create a niche. Patrons line up at touchscreen kiosks to navigate through the resources of the new $100 million Science, Industry, and Business Library. With 100 workstations, 24-hour dial-in access, and an email reference desk, it's a small business person's dream.
In terms of starting a business, or a small or large business, it has all the law resources that you need to know about. I mean, it's tremendous help.
It makes the research affordable for us to have to buy some of these databases. It would be prohibitive.
A small business owner doesn't have a library within his or her place of business. but they have very, very important information needs. Those information needs have to be satisfied somehow if that business is to survive and if that business is to thrive. We see as our public responsibility providing those folks with access to important, up-to-date, globally relevant information.
Hi, can I help you?
Though the recent digital renovations have increased information access for hundreds of thousands of users, not everyone is thrilled with the electronic library.
Some people just don't like computers, and they come into the library and they're confronted with computers, everywhere they go. There's a computer system that's going to do their catalog search, their magazine search, whatever.
San Francisco's old card catalog was not moved to the new library. It is locked up and inaccessible to the public. Local debate over its fate mirrors larger national sentiments about the March of Progress. Melissa Riley chairs the Intellectual Freedom Committee of the Librarians Guild.
Sometimes people are saying that those who are interested in card catalogs are nostalgic, but they have real information that's useful to people. And it's also helpful during power outages and for people who get seizures when they use screens. And we know it's flawed, it's closed. Most, tons of stuff isn't there, but as a complement to the wonderful online catalog, which is so sophisticated that many people can't begin to figure out which button to push, and they need more help than ever.
I have no quarrel with the point that the card catalog is an artifact. And so the issue then is, what do we do to preserve an artifact? But I will not support the view that the card catalog is a working technology to help people find books anymore. It is not. And most of the libraries in the world know that and have moved on.
Computerization is having other unforeseen consequences. A wired library can deliver information instantly, but there are costs involved, and the issue of who should pay is far from resolved.
Libraries cannot go into the business of giving away free copies of everything morally. Not just, we don't have the money to do that. But morally, I think it would bankrupt the whole traditional compact between the publishers, the vendors, the library, and so on. So we need the capacity to say, okay, we'll fax that article on your desk, but you have to pay for the convenience, you have to pay for the copyright, the intellectual content.
When you start charging for information, not just copies like a Xerox of something, but at the actual information itself, or the librarian's help in using a database, or the searching capacities of the database, like the Boolean capacity. When you start charging for those things, you're breaking down what I call the commons of knowledge, a place both in cyberspace and in real space where people can share information, literally share it.
See what you find over there, Ian.
So as libraries become the latest institutions joining the traffic on the information superhighway, they're finding the ride isn't always smooth.
Some people are really, really opposed, really resent what they see as the intrusion of computers into an environment that they always regarded as somehow just not technology, not technological. A lot of times you agree with them. This is too hard to use. Yeah, it is too hard to use. I wish we could make it simpler. And a lot of times the computer technology isn't there for every user yet. So it's going to be a while before it's all perfect, if it ever is.